Welcome to Andy's Personal Development, the place for transactional conversations. During these conversations, we'll discover intentionality and clarity, and of course, purpose. Now, here is your host, Andy Anderson Charles. So, welcome. This is Transactional Conversations, the place to discover intentionality, clarity, and purpose. This is what we're all about, and we will be with you in just a few seconds. Stand by. Yeah, so this is your host, Andy Anderson Charles, and this episode is entitled Whipped Seduction at First Sip with Ken Cruz. He's live here in the studio with us. So let me tell you a bit about this individual whose work is quite intriguing. Kenneth Cruz is a disabled single father and storyteller originally from New York, whose writing journey began with a splash of controversy in the fourth grade. His first story, it was a bold tale about a man caught in an affair, landed him in the principal's office but captivated his classmates, revealing his natural gift for storytelling and connection. Life's challenges and triumphs have profoundly shaped Kenneth's voice as a writer. While balancing single fatherhood and entrepreneurship, he has put his creative pursuits and hold on to build a stable life for himself and his family. But let him tell you so much more about himself, his work, his impact, and how he got himself out of trouble from the principal's office, among many other things. So, welcome live on transactional conversation. Sorry, our guest, Kenneth Cruz. Yeah, there he is. How are you doing, Ken?
Yeah. Hi, thank
All
you
right,
for having me.
all right. I need. Okay, so I'm hearing you.
I'm doing excellent. How about yourself?
I'm hearing you. I'm
Can you
seeing
hear
you and
me?
I'm hearing you. Yeah,
You hear me loud and clear?
I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Oh, great. Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Okay, great, wonderful. So,
Okay, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me. And yeah, it's been quite the journey.
okay, wonderful. So,
It,
what would you consider to be the most defining moment of your life, Ken? When you look back at the memories and the past that has gone by, could you remember any one moment that sticks out in your mind that clearly made a difference in your life?
my whole life's been one heck of a journey transitioning from New York to California. But that one moment I would say that stuck true to me is having my firstborn son. When I found out that my son was alive and in this world, it really changed me to know that my name and my legacy would be carried on through him, and wanting to adhere to show him how to be a man so he could carry out my legacy and my name through his bloodline. That really touched my heart and that inspired me to really build and develop my life. So definitely it'd have to be the birth of my son.
Yeah, thank you, and we appreciate that, and we appreciate you, Ken. So,
Thank you.
how did you? You're welcome. How did you manage to get yourself in controversy with the principal, but yet intrigue your friends and your classmates because they found something different and new in your writing?
Yeah, I was in the fourth grade and I was writing stories about a businessman going to a hotel, having an affair. I was taking slight bits of experiences and trauma and weaving them into this captivating narrative and expressing my emotions in a positive light, in a positive way, albeit controversial. So it caused the controversy, but the students were enraptured in my experience, and it's been kind of that way all the way through high school and growing up. I've always been able to tell my story, and as a disabled single dad who's traversed the country on his own, it's really unique experiences. So in that controversy, people wanted to know what I was feeling. They wanted to know my thoughts, and they wanted to go ahead and live that experience through my eyes. So I've always been able to weave and go ahead and captivate storytelling through that. So even now with my new book, I take Ashley's journey, and it's a controversial. She's going through crazy experiences. I was going through crazy experiences growing up. And I put the reader in those eyes, in those feelings, experiencing real and realistic experiences that they might not have had, but in such a visceral, raw way that it resonates and that they want to pick it up and read it and engage.
Yeah, and you've done it quite well, Ken. I must
Thank
commend
you.
you for that.
Thank you.
And despite the fact that you had the challenge of being a single father and the disabled physical condition you had to deal with, you still did what you were best at, and you tried to get your message out to the world and connect with people
Definitely.
real on a real basis. So I definitely need to commend you for that.
Thank you.
So why did you choose that style of writing?
I always found that a real and a raw and a gritty visceral style is going to convey your message and convey your feeling. I wrap that in a
Okay.
poignant and poetic way, but I want to keep things really real with my audience. I want them to feel and see the nitty gritty as if they were there. I've read a lot. One of my favorite authors was Donald Goines. I liked his raw style, how he just gets gritty and tells you the dirt and the most dramatic things. He doesn't hold back any details. So I really appreciated that. Then I got no other authors who have a really poignant and poetic style. And I wanted to mix that. I wanted to give that poetic and that flow, but at the same time give you those raw and dirty details in a poetic way. So not only do you feel and you see everything and you could experience all of that, but I wanted it to sound in a poetic and beautiful way as well, because there's beauty in everything. There's beauty in the darkness, there's beauty in even our hardships, from losing it all to reclaiming it all. There's so much beauty in the human experience. I think to capture every detail and preserve that rawness, but put it in a beautiful way that anyone can listen, and it's hard for anyone to knock or critique it because it's so well put and it's elegant. I think that's something different that I bring to the table.
Wow. That sounds like magic to me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing, man. Thank you
My
for
pleasure.
opening up and being just vulnerable with us. So
That's
let's get down to the basic aspect of the publication. You entitle it Whipped Seduction at First Sip. How did you come up with that name, and what is the connection to the book's central theme, the central message you want people to get from it?
That's a great question. Whip is playful and it can be taken in so many different terminologies,
Yeah.
but we're not talking about any crazy whip type here. It's actually a play on words on the barista. The main protagonist, the female protagonist of this story, is Ashley. So she's a barista at Starbucks. She's working her normal shift, tired dealing with life of single motherhood, being alone. And one day she's met with this magnificent stranger that just drives through her driveway in a fancy car, and she accidentally sneezes on his coffee when he's asking for extra whipped cream, and he turns it into a moment of seduction where he pulls her into this world, and she's so enamored by him, by his charisma, by his eyes, she loses herself. So it's a play on words. It's the coffee, the whipped cream. It's how when we fall and we give that vulnerability of love, we can become whipped at
Yeah.
that love. And we'll do anything for that love, that sensation, to feel that and live and live that. So she becomes whipped, putting the whipped cream. So it's a play on words there. That double entendre that I love.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, I'm gonna just put it up on the screen here, Ken. Wow,
So yeah, it's a
it's
powerful message, and it
yeah,
really is.
yeah,
From the moment that he takes that first sip of coffee, he
yeah,
reels her in, and he's whipping her and almost pulling her into the lifestyle that he wants. And she's new to all this, so she's learning and finding herself.
yeah. Who helped you come up with the concept of the cover? Was that all you or part of the team that did the publication?
And that's the main character who seduces and entrances her there, and she's caught up, captivated by his eyes, by his words, by his looks, by his presence. And I think it's a vulnerability that comes with being in love.
Okay, okay, that's cool. That's cool. So, how has you? The book has been released already. Yes, Ken. Can you hear me? Ken, can you hear me? Ken.
And through this journey, you'll really see I pour a lot of my own experience into Ashley. So it's a very
Hmm.
authentic experience there.
Okay, great, wonderful. Okay, hold on a moment. Let me just check something here. One, two, three. Okay, great. All right. So, what is the response like from the publication? What are people saying about it? Can you having audio problems? Are you hearing me? I'm not hearing you.
Are you
Okay.
with me there still?
I'm hearing you now. I'm not hearing you. I wasn't hearing you before. I asked you if the book was published already, and if so, what is the feedback from the publication? Wow.
There we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, great. What is the feedback from the
I
publication?
lost audio when you transferred over. I
Yeah.
can't hear you.
Okay. You can hear me now? Can you hear me now? Are you with me, Ken? Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you. Now I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. What is the feedback from the publication?
So far, very intense. We're in preliminary, so it's been a very select audience that's read the beta, but everyone says it's a very unique, authentic experience, raw experience that fits somewhere in a niche that hasn't been before. It's fitting somewhere in between 50 Shades of Grey and another title, It Ends With Us, of women's contemporary fiction. So, an experience where it captures the escapism of something like 50 Shades, but at the same time, it's a journey and it's a deep, layered experience that people can take it at any level that they want. And they can escape into Ashley as she's brought into these wild, seedy parties, but at the same time, she's discovering and learning herself, and she's growing and evolving, and she's learning. And there's underlying things that we have that are relationship tendencies, um, and labels, and dealing with narcissism and other things like that. So while she's going to these crazy, wild, parties, with relationships, she's also navigating and learning about different personality types, relationship types, how to handle that, and how to handle attachment style, his attachment style and her own attachment style. So it can be taken on so many different levels, and people do appreciate that.
Yeah. That deserve a drum roll. So now
Awesome.
I'm gonna get into an excerpt, and it says, "In the fluorescent lit haze of early morning coffee runs, Ashley's life is a delicate balancing act of sippy cups and steamed milk. A single mother juggling the chaos of a toddler, an overbearing Spanish-speaking mother, and relentless shifts at Starbucks. She's forgotten what it feels like to truly live, until a sleek black Rubicon rolls up to her drive through window, and its driver, with storm gray eyes and a devil's smoke, orders more than just a little a latte with extra whipped cream. What begins as a fleeting exchange and an awkward sneeze soon transforms into a dangerous dance of attraction. I love your style, Ken. Where
Thank
does
you, thank you.
where does all the inspiration come for you to come up with these steamy themes and all the drama and intrigue that you're able to put into your writing?
You know, life. I left home at 18 and I left New York and I drove cross country. I had the overbearing family. I had to, loving nevertheless, but in the culture, very overbearing, judgmental, and dealing with lingering things like that. So I traversed the country. I went to Temple for a little while and I drove cross country to California by myself and started life, started, working on building a family, working on business. And I was in LA. I went to Las Vegas for a little while and started a company out there just to get away because when I loved hard. So I fell in love with Los Angeles as a city where you'll meet some of the wildest experiences and wildest people you can ever imagine. And life's taken me on a journey that's undescribable. So I literally have to put it in, into these stories and craft these stories. And they're based, a lot of it is based on authentic experiences, experiences that if you had to be there to believe. And this is just a small fraction of it. So I've loved hard. I've given myself. I know what it's like to feel like you've transcended to the depths of heaven only to fall and take a descent into your darkest days just because you love too hard. And
Yeah.
then to rebuild yourself out of that, to come out of that ash like a phoenix and rise above is an amazing experience. So all of these experiences has helped craft the words and craft an authentic experience where someone's taken through the depths, taken through the darkest thing corners of your imagination and of the human experience that you could ever conceive. And to have to dust yourself off, especially with child, and rebuild your life and make it a positive one, make it strong. I know what that's like. So, Whipped
Yeah, yeah.
will be a very authentic, very visceral, very real, raw read for people, and they'll be able to take that journey along with me. And like at the same time, as I told you earlier, I wanted to capture every nitty gritty detail, but put a polished paint and make it poignant and poetic so that anyone can pick it up, appreciate it, read it, and take that journey and appreciate it on whatever level they want.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Really interesting and intriguing. Thank you for sharing, Ken.
Pleasure.
How do you, yeah, you're welcome. How do you deal with juggling being an entrepreneur, um, an author, and a single father? How do you balance yourself in all these areas?
It's a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of balancing, juggling, and a lot of caffeine, a lot of energy drinks. as we as we find out, and as I try to expand us in this endeavor, and it takes more and more out of the soul, not just writing and refining the writing and the words, and refining Ashley's experience, but being there for my babies, and at the same time having to work and make sure that everything is covered and all the bills are paid. Obviously, it's very demanding, very grueling. So, a lot of caffeine, a lot of inspiration from smiles and from enjoying every minor victory that we have. I think we need to celebrate and be proud of that. And we need to do it internally. Other people may not celebrate, but if we celebrate our own steps forward, it's going to help us continue that path and that journey forward. So I think that's really important. Celebrating yourself, no matter the haters, no matter what people say. If you know you took a step in the right direction of God's calling and your purpose, I think that's a really great thing. So your friends may celebrate you more if you go out and you buy a new car. You spend, you know, however much money you have and you buy a fancy car, you're going to get kudos and you're going to get celebrated. But when you make that transcendence and you're able to celebrate an investment in yourself, and instead of going out and buying a new car, I invested all this in my future. And they may not see it today, and they may not see your vision or your investment. But by you doing that and you knowing and holding on to that and letting that resonate and push you forward, I feel that's something that will empower you. So goes, I guess, with the astrology too. I'm a Capricorn, so I love to see progress, and I recognize and celebrate my own progress and own small victories, minor victories from doing this podcast with you today and sharing my message to the world, to the audience. If I inspire someone, I can take that with me and claim that victory with God, and I know I'm fulfilling God's purpose and my own.
Yeah, and it's a good thing to know that you have found your purpose, and it's a stretch of life that has been quite fulfilling and one that you do enjoy. And I can tell by the passion in your voice, Ken, and that resonates with people because it's real. It's not somebody else's story; it's yours. And
Definitely.
I feel the pride in your voice, in your passion when you speak about it. Is there any other works coming up in the future?
Yes. After Whipped, which is more seductive, it's a more of a seductive story that brings people into the romance genre. I wanted that to be my debut novel because it mixes that grittiness with the beauty, the allure. Just like all these things unfolding with Diddy. Ashley was dragged into some parties, not to that craziness, not to that level
Yeah.
of extreme or illegalness, but she was brought into things that she never, that looked so glamorous on the outside, but really showed a darker human experience on the inside, and she resonated and comes out of that. My next novel that I want to, that's completed, that I want to go ahead and refine and put out there after that is called Monsters. That stands for Men Opposing Negative Systems That Eradicate Rights. And that's
Wow.
kind, yeah, that's it's deep. Take that in a while.
Yeah.
Men
Yeah.
opposing negative systems that eradicates rights, because as men, a lot of our rights, especially now in this day and age, are stripped from us. A lot of the liberties that people have, they're just not there. People are judged, and as men, we're supposed to stay quiet. We're supposed to take it all, live on, and just be strong, and not ascertain or show too many emotions. So that book takes a group of men who are at their breaking point because they've been unjustly accused and all wronged by the system. You'll see their side of the story, you'll see the system, and you'll see certain people transform through what they had to go through. But it's a really dark, gritty experience that's a mashup of Fight Club and Saw. And they don't really go about it the right way. And I wrote this probably at my darkest points where they're enacting acts of vengeance and taking the people from the system and they're putting them in Saw-like traps to go ahead and match the injustice that they felt. And they're dealing with a lot of really, really dark situations that they've done, and they're enacting them on others. And then some people have a change of heart and they find God through that and they rebel against that. And there's subplots going on with the detective, and she's newly engaged to her beautiful fiance and in love. And she becomes so enraptured by this case that she starts turning into a monster herself really short
Mhm.
and treating her little high school sweetheart who she fell in love with, who's like her dream person. She starts treating her like a monster just because of the stress of her job and doesn't know how to deal with what she's seeing. So that whole novel is to make people question the monster within and how we deal with things and how we can cast judgment, but how it's easy to be put into experiences, or how false judgment and experiences can really shape our journey. And being able to put that aside and come out of that and find God, it's a powerful piece of work that'll be my next novel.
Yeah, definitely, indeed. It reminds me of an old African saying that I heard once being quoted. If you cannot fight and manage the zombies that are living within, There is no way you can deal with those that are living without. And
Definitely. I love it.
we have so many of them in so many different ways and forms and fashion that we deal with every single day in life. So it takes a fully conscious individual to say to themselves, you know what, this is a part of me that I have to deal with. And I
Definitely.
no longer want it to be dark. I want it to be illuminated so that when the moment comes and it becomes a trigger moment and I feel tempted to let that monster out or that zombie out, I will have the control that's necessary because I've made peace with it. I've made peace with myself. I've had closure. There's no more inflammation. It's just pure healing. And I guess everyone desires to be at that place, Ken, where they can truly manage themselves so much that they can control even the negative desires, the negative effects, or the negative nature that we naturally feel that will come to the fore from time to time, depending on the inner and the outer circumstances, the ecosystems that we have to deal with. So I commend you for that.
Thank
So
you. Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm just going to share some information here for a moment and give us an opportunity to catch our breath. This is
Okay.
probably just about a minute or so. It's testimony from Amanda Blackwood with regards to um, our second broadcast with regards to podcasting. It's called Breaking Out of Depression, and it runs every Tuesday at 6:30 AST Atlantic Standard Time on Facebook and YouTube and the LBW Radio Network. So we're going to relax for a minute as Amanda speaks about her experience and encourage others to tune in as well.
I just wanted to take a moment to tell you all about this amazing podcast that I had the absolute privilege of being on recently. Oh my gosh. Andy Charles is such an easy person to talk to. It's such a wonderful podcast to listen to. I love these guys. I know that I'm not going to have nearly as many opportunities to speak to them as I wish I could, but the program, Breaking Out of Depression, is really doing exactly that for so many people. It's been a great thing to be a part of. It's wonderful to uh, see the progress of this show as it goes along. I'm just really blessed to have been a part of this.
Logging in.
Thank you, Amanda. Such a beautiful soul. So that's Breaking Out of Depression every Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time on Facebook, YouTube, and the LBW Radio Network. So Ken, do you have a mentor or a coach that helps you keep your feet on the ground and work with your different ideas and concepts and just generally be a source of inspiration when you may need it from time to time? Seem to have lost your audio again. Go ahead and speak. Can you hear me now? Oh, he's pumping up on caffeine. Ken, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
My camera up.
Oh, yeah, I'm hearing you now. Can you hear me? Okay. Do you have a mentor, Ken? Oh, we having an issue there. Let me just.
I think I lost you there. I don't know if I have audio or
You do have
I
audio. I
can't
can
hear
hear
you right
you.
now.
You can't hear me.
I can't hear
Wow.
you.
Wow. Okay, hold on a second. Let me just make sure that my audio is there, and I don't know why he can't hear me. And I just refreshed the page.
I don't.
Not hearing me. Not hearing me.
I don't hear you. I don't have audio from you. Let me try to.
Something you probably touched a move there.
Yeah, we've lost. You can hear
Can
me.
you? I can hear you. Yeah.
I can't. I can't hear you. It's
Okay.
like
It
you're
looks
muted.
like. Uh, can you hear me now?
I know that happened before here. I'll fix it.
Yeah, it did happen
But
before. It
bounce
did
for me.
happen before.
Yeah, I still don't.
Okay, looks like we're gonna have to wrap up this.
Should I log out and come back in?
Yeah, try that.
Okay, I'll do that. I'll be right back.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, people. So
There you go. All right, cookie.
it seems as though we are having this kind of situation with Ken, and he's just gonna try and log out and come back in as we look at
Yeah.
the intriguing aspects of his publication entitled "Whipped: Seduction at First Sip" with Ken Cruz. Let me apologize on behalf of him and myself and the technology. Yeah, he's back. I'm hearing him in the background. Let me see if I can just bring him in. And okay, I just need to get his video
Okay,
up
should be.
and running.
Yeah, should be.
Ba-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba-da.
Should be up there. What's going on here?
Oh, he's gone again. Let's see if we're gonna get him back. And in the meantime, I'm just trying to do something here. Regular. Okay, we're having some technical difficulties. I hate using that term. Hang on, folks. I hope to get Kenneth Cruz back as we seek to wrap up. We just have about a few more minutes to go again. And we are dealing with whipped seduction at first sip with Ken Cruz. And despite the fact that he had to deal with being a single father and an obvious physical limitation, he is definitely a source of inspiration, taking some of his personal experiences and even experiences of other people, but basically looking at the human element of being able to connect on a real basis. So, there you are.
We are back.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, but your audio is ruffled. It's not coming in pure.
Yeah, that's.
Wow.
Can you
Yeah.
hear me? I left.
Yeah, the audio is garbled. It's not coming in good at all, and that's one of the main things. Just people just want to hear a smooth audio coming in. Yeah, he's gone. So he's gonna try to log back in one more time, and we're gonna see if we could just wrap up in the proper manner this episode with Ken Cruz entitled "Whipped Seduction at First Sip," and it's a very intriguing and unusual story that he's telling here with regards to the main character being Ashley, a single mom, and she has serious problems with her mom as well, and the neighborhood that she's in and the job that she's doing. Yeah, let me hear you again, Ken. Speak, let me hear you.
I think we're good now. I'm
Yeah,
sorry about
yeah,
the technical
yeah.
difficulties. I don't know.
That's all right. That's all right. It happens from time to time. We have no control
Yeah,
over it most of the time. Yeah, so I
you're
was
right.
asking you I was asking you before we got interrupted with the technical difficulties if you had a mentor or coach that helps you with your ideas and stabilizes everything and basically keeps your feet on the ground.
You know, my parents have always been pretty much my go-to, my voice of reason. You know, my dad's always inspired me to be strong, pursue, and do what needs to be done. So that's as close to a mentor. And mom's always provided nurturing when I was at those points where I needed the attention of nurture or comfort. You know, they're just a phone call away. So besides inspiration and other authors who I really admire and have done magnificent works, my parents uh, combine that with my son, and that's kind of the package there. So not quite a mentor, but guidance definitely.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you for sharing,
Thank
Ken.
you.
Yeah, we come to the end of the broadcast there. I have to shut it down.
Awesome.
Um, but I just want you to tell people where they can get a copy of the publication and how they can reach out to you as well.
Oh, great. Our ARCs are going live, so we have advanced reader copies, so they can have edition, an early edition for review copies right now at readwhipped.com. So they're going live this week for the advanced review copies. Then after that, we'll start pre-orders, and there's going to be a special pre-order gift and bonus for anyone who pre-orders. And with that, will be with our full launch there. So they'll be able to really get in on a ground level of something amazing that's happening. And we really see and anticipate Ashley's journey growing to really big heights. So I think they're going to see her on film and see her in future sequels. So readwhip.com, they can sign up now and they can have an early review copy and then pre-order from there.
Wow. Wonderful. And on that
Thank you.
note, you're welcome. We have come to the end of this episode entitled Whip Seduction at First Sip with Ken Cruz. So many things to look forward to with the main character and the plot. This is Andy of Andy's Personal Development, together with my guest, Kenneth Cruz, signing off on Transactional Conversations, the place for intentionality, clarity, and purpose. Bye for now, guys.